ecological reservoir. To begin with, biogeochemical is a simple process that occurs between non-living things, minerals, and nutrients that are brought out into the environment. It also tackles energy that was produced by the organism that was displayed in a specific area of the ecosystem. Different types of biogeochemical process occurs in the atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, and hydrosphere, depending on the aspect of life where they are abundant and necessary. There are 5 biogeochemical cycles that occurs in our surroundings. The first cycle that we'll be going to discuss is the hydrological cycle, also known as the water cycle, which is one of the most fundamental cycle in the biogeochemical processes. Why? Because it impacts the climate, water purification, mineral transportation, and the replenishment of the land and fresh waters in our surroundings. The next one would be the carbon cycle, considered as the second abundant element in the living organism or in our surroundings, which have 2 interconnected subcycles, which are a rapid and long-term carbon change process.
Genetic, we're talking about genetics. Now let's find out what is this epigenetic all about. The root epi mean above, which is fitting the word epigenetic above genome. Genome is a complete set of genes or genetic material present in a cell or organism. Epigenetic is a study how DNA interacts with a multitude of smaller molecules found within the cells, which can activate and deactivate genes. Also, how our behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way our genes work. How does it work? Genes in DNA are expressed when they are read and transcribed into RNA, which is translated into proteins by structures called ribosomes. Epigenetic changes affect gene expression in different ways. Types of epigenetic changes include DNA methylation, histone modification, and non-coding RNA.
Genetic modification. DNA methylation involves the attachment of small chemical groups called methyl groups to DNA building blocks. When methyl groups are present on a gene, that gene is turned off or silenced, and no protein is produced from that gene. Histones are structural proteins in the cell nucleus. DNA wraps around histones, giving chromosomes their shapes. Histones can be modified by the addition or removal of chemical groups such as methyl groups or acetyl groups. The chemical groups influence how tightly the DNA is wrapped around histones, which affects whether a gene can be turned on or off.
Let us now move on to the anthropogenic effects. These are the things that resulted from human activities that causes stress on all ecological reservoirs. These effects are not natural occurrences, but stress brought with human intervention. Degradation of the soil is one of the greatest anthropogenic effects or applied stress on the land. This phenomenon threatens a lot of ecosystem services and disrupts biogeochemical cycles such as sedimentary and phosphorus cycle. According to Le Chatelier's principle, where there are constraints applied to a system in equilibrium, the equilibrium will also apply countermeasures against these constraints. In our case, with too much stress that we are applying to the land through agricultural or industrial activities, the land continues to degrade, which endangers a lot of ecosystem services along with human livelihood.
Now, these are the examples of the anthropogenic effects or stress to the environment. First is the excessive use of fertilizer. This causes the phosphorus levels in the soil to be too high than what is really needed, and this harms the soil microorganisms and nearby water sources. These pictures show the use of fertilizer. The more this is used, this could lead to soil degradation, which is the loss of equilibrium of stable soil. This could also lead to the decline in soil fertility and could promote soil erosion. The proper and responsible use of fertilizer could reduce this problem from emerging. Another example of an anthropogenic effect is the sewage treatment. Phosphorus leakages in the water resources may cause harm to different aquatic life. So here are examples of what poor sewage treatment looks like. These lakes are seen to have phosphorus runoffs coming from nearby crops that have too much fertilizer.
Invasive species are very destructive in nature. For this section, we will emphasize the effect of terrestrial invasive species. These species are non-native to their environment, specifically inland, and can cause harm to other species and alter other habitats. Aside from animals, invasive species include plants and other pathogens or diseases, which can reproduce quickly and aggressively harm the ecosystem. Meanwhile, these terrestrial invasive species create environmental disturbances, which leads to environmental degradation, wherein the general health of the environment is at risk and being threatened. Human activities will be heavily affected once the native ecosystem is being brought down by these invasive species.
As they say time and time again, we humans have disrupted nature to the point that we can also be called invasive species. But before talking about our failure as a species, what are invasive species? They're basically species that don't really belong to a certain habitat. Some just die out, but others would thrive and even compete with the species that belong to that habitat, resulting to the lack of biodiversity. Also, we're probably the cause why there are invasive species in the first place, because we're the ones moving species from one place to another. So just like invasive species, we humans are like them, but to the planet, like cane toads who fought infestation, multiplied like rats, and destroyed the habitat of Australia. Our species destroyed the land for our greed. Stein meaning rock and Erde meaning the earth itself, we destroyed land, resulting to the earth's decline, like an erosion. Einstein said that our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all the living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. And talking about Einstein, time. Time doesn't stop to wait for us, so we must act now.